I'm going to tell you something that I have not told anyone yet. This year, I auditioned for Gladiators. I was a child the first time Gladiators was really, really popular on TV. You know, when you had Jet and Wolf and they were all high kicking gymnastics and Wolf was the real baddie. I used to watch that with my sister in front of the TV, eating our crispy pancakes, chips and beans and just loving it. It was classic Saturday night TV, right? And then last year, there was a new series of Gladiator. It came back, right? And everyone was skeptical. Everyone was wondering, what's it going to be like? Is it going to be anywhere near as good as it was back in the day? Well, it was phenomenal. It was everything that the first series was and more. But to provide a little bit of context of why I auditioned for Gladiators, summer of 2023, I had somewhat of a mental breakdown. I had a huge crisis of confidence. A lot of things had happened in my life. We had just closed a CrossFit gym that we'd had open for 9 years. I had just stopped working for someone. I was a pre- and postnatal online coach, but I just didn't really feel that passionate about it anymore. I wasn't really enjoying it, and I was feeling pretty down in the dumps because I was missing the CrossFit gym. I was missing the interaction that I had with all those people and all our members. I didn't really know where my life was going. I wasn't really doing that well in business. I had success as a pre- and postnatal coach for a while when I was loving it, when it was my entire identity to be a mum, but I wasn't really feeling that anymore. And then at the same time, I got a business mentor and I also got a therapist, which I think is a really great combination, to be honest. It was great to have that nice balance of someone who was there to look after my brain and someone who was there to look after my business. And the combination of that was really potent. My business mentor helped me make some really big changes in my business. She helped me completely pivot away from being a pre- and postnatal coach. She helped me start my new business. And my therapist at the same time was really helping me with my self-compassion and belief in myself so that I could do all these big, scary, challenging things like pivot away from something that I'd been doing for such a long time and start a new business. So I remember starting with my business mentor and I said, do you know what I want more than anything? I just want consistent 5-6K months. And she was like, yeah, Shona, easy. We can do that. I said to my therapist, all I want to do is not give a fuck about what people think. I just want to put myself out there and make these things happen without beating myself up if they go wrong. She's like, okay, Shona, let's make it happen. Within 3 months of working with my business mentor, I had surpassed a 5-6K month. I hit a 15K month. I remember the first time that happened to me, I was lying on my back in shock. That is genuinely what happened. I lay on the floor and I just let the shock hit me. And it was such an incredible feeling because I never thought that that was ever going to be something that would happen to me. I genuinely used to think that I would be someone who would always struggle because I thought I just didn't have business success in me. Like I was aware that I was like good at some things, but I didn't think that being a successful businesswoman was one of those things. I think you might find that really surprising because if you know me, you're knowing this new version of me, this version of me that has done all this work and has put herself out there and challenged herself. After about 6 months of working with my business coach and I was hitting those high income months and this is my new normal. And so I thought, now I see the value of what happens when you do big, scary things. Because obviously it was absolutely terrifying to move away from the person I'd been working with, to completely pivot away from what I had invested so much time and money into. All of those things had paid off massively. Yeah, there was a huge risk, but what tends to happen is the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. So the next thing that I did is I booked a holiday by myself. And you might think, that doesn't sound that scary. But I am not that sort of person. I'm not the person who goes away from her family by herself. And especially, I was not that person since becoming a mum, because I felt extreme mum guilt. Mum guilt was holding me back so massively, because I would feel really guilty for investing time in my business, investing in nursery so that someone could look after my son, so that I could build my business. I was sacrificing myself at the altar of motherhood. And so that was another thing that my therapist helped me with, is this mum guilt, because I realized how much that was stopping me from living a life of enjoyment and freedom. Because mum guilt, literally, it's like you wear it like chainmail, and it makes you feel physically heavy. So shedding that chainmail of mum guilt allowed me to book a holiday by myself. And there was also reasons why I booked a holiday by myself. We'd been on 2 holidays the year previous with a toddler, and me and my partner had decided they just ain't it. A holiday with a 2-year-old just ain't it, right? Toddler doesn't think, oh, it's so lovely, the sunshine, the weather, and the beach. No, they don't care. They just want to be doing their normal things, and it just becomes a really expensive, stressful trip. Maybe you've had wonderful experiences on holiday with your toddler. I unfortunately did not. So my partner was like, I'm not doing it. It's a waste of money. Let's wait until he's older and we can actually enjoy the holiday. And he's not someone who really, really needs sun. I am. I need sunlight. So when he said, I don't want to do a holiday this year, I was like, oh, that does not work with me. The other option then was, okay, well, why don't I go a holiday myself? He was fully supportive. And at first I was kind of like, oh, well, I'd like to go somewhere hot and maybe I'll just book 3 days, 4 days. And he was like, just go for 7. Just go for a full week. So booked 7 days in Santorini, and it was exactly what I needed. I was really nervous in the lead up to it. I was so nervous that I would miss my son. I was nervous that I wouldn't be safe by myself. I was nervous that this was the wrong thing to do. When I arrived, it took me a couple of days to realize that I do whatever I wanted. It was my schedule. I didn't need to get up early. I could go wherever I wanted. I could eat whatever I wanted. It was amazing. And 7 days was perfect. I thought that I would feel really, really homesick and miss my son. And yeah, I did. But I decided that my mum guilt was not serving anyone. My son had a wonderful time with his dad. I had a wonderful time on holiday. And while I was there, I was like, look, here's this other big risk that I've taken. And this other big risk has paid off. I decided in that moment that I was going to start saying yes. At that point, I think it was the start of the summer, there were posts on social media going around saying that they were casting for the next series of contestants on Gladiator. And people had said to me, because I am a big, loud personality, and also because obviously I am a fit and strong person, people were saying, Shona, you should go for it. And I had kept saying, oh no, I'm not going to do it. No, not for me. No, I'm far too old. No, I would be rubbish. No. So I thought about it again while I was in Santorini. I was like, maybe I should do this, because I am seeing what happens when you do the scary thing, right? There's a big payoff. I had done the big scary thing with my business. I'd gone on a big scary solo holiday, and it was the best week of the year. And now I'm like, right, okay, people are telling me to do this, so I'm going to do it. So I filled out the application. I wanted to be completely honest about my skills and abilities. I wouldn't be like, I think I can win Gladiators. I really don't in any way, shape, or form. So I did say that in my application. I said, I think I'm totally average, but what I do have in my corner is that I will try really hard. And I'd totally forgotten about it. But then a couple of months later, I got a phone call from someone in the casting team from Gladiators saying, hi Shona, we've received your application, and we had a phone call and they asked me loads of questions, and then they said, what we're going to do is I'm going to take all your responses back to our casting team, and then we're going to phone you and tell you what our next decision is. Then a couple of days later, I got a phone call back saying, hi Shona, we have spoken about you and we'd actually really like to meet you. We have an audition day tomorrow. Are you able to come? It's up in Edinburgh. And I was like, yeah, why not? Why not? So turn up on the day, and it is very nerve-wracking, right? There's all these really fit people. When she said on the phone, this is going to be like adult sports day, she was very much underselling this day. I have never exercised so much and so intensely in one spell of time. We had to be there at 9 a.m. and we didn't leave until about 1. And between those hours, we had done back-to-back max intensity fitness tests. Now, I don't think that they were looking for the fittest person there, because I don't think that would make Gladiators that entertaining to watch. I think what they're actually looking for is someone that fits a personality or character type that they had in mind that is going to be entertaining to watch, which I find really, really interesting, because I was looking around the room and I was thinking, some of the most jacked people here, some of the people who are winning every single fitness test, I don't know how much these people are going to make great television. So I'd be really interested to know which ones have been chosen for Gladiators. Spoiler alert, I did not get cast in Gladiators. And I am being completely honest here when I say I'm actually quite glad. And the reason that I am quite glad, first of all, I didn't actually think that I was going to be cast. I didn't go in there thinking, yeah, she's got Gladiators written all over her. I had a really fun day, but what it did make me realize was I really don't like any sort of contact sport. And Gladiators is basically all contact sport. You know, the one where they have to stand and they're holding those big batons and then they have to beat each other as hard as they can. I would fall over instantly because I hate being hit with anything. And I discovered that when we did that fitness test where we had to beat each other up with the rugby bags, what we had to do was essentially like sumo wrestling. It was like 1-on-1 and we had a rugby bag and we had to try and push the other person off the circle. I hated that. It made my whole body fill with adrenaline. And afterwards, I was like hyperventilating because of the stress, the physical and mental and emotional stress that I'd been under for, I don't know, the 30 seconds that I'd been doing it. I realized that I do not enjoy any sort of physical person-to-person combat, and that Gladiators would have actually involved a lot of that. So I don't think I would have got very far. The second reason that I'm really glad I didn't get onto Gladiators is because I really enjoy the fact that as a business owner, someone who has an online persona and is able to create her own personal brand, I love that I'm in control of that. And I love that what I have created on social media, my followers, my audience, is my community, right? I have created that myself, and I am fully in control of how people see me. If I was going to be on television, I would not be in control of that anymore. I think that I would probably find that quite a struggle. I heard an influencer talk about this exact thing recently. She has a big following on social media and she was getting some hate for whatever she'd said recently. And she was really upset about it. She spoke about it to her mum. And her mum said, listen, if you stick your arse out the window, don't be surprised if someone gives it a smack. And I realised that I don't want to put myself in that situation. I don't want other people to be in control of how I am portrayed on TV. And it could be absolutely fine. And people really enjoyed watching me on Gladiators, and it could really bolster what I do and it could add to my business. But there's also a chance that it doesn't. So I don't know when the next series of Gladiators coming out. I hope it's quite soon because I cannot wait to watch it. I will be watching it from the comfort of my own sofa without being beaten into a pulp by a 6-foot Amazonian woman. And the conclusion of this story is that I am so proud of myself for putting myself in that position in the first place. When I am old and I'm on my deathbed, I want to look back on my life and think, I said yes, I took the risk, I put myself out there, and even if it didn't pay off, I had so much fun and I've got so many stories to tell for it. I am taking that energy forward into 2025 and I'm going to make more things happen like this for myself because I've shown what happens when you put yourself out there, when you take risks, when you do things that maybe might surprise people. This all started because I was in a position where I didn't know what to do next. I was in a position where I felt like this is like rock bottom. I don't know where to go from here. And I got help because I didn't want to live like that anymore. Sometimes it takes you getting to that point where you're like, I want to make a big change in my life. I want some excitement. I want to feel passionate about what I do. I want to feel like what I do really makes an impact. And because of all that, I'm having financial success. I'm having financial security because I made that decision to get help, to do things differently, to take risks. I am now where I am today, and I can only just keep building on that. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the podcast. I hope you'll be watching Gladiators with me. And if you want to reach out and talk about working with me, then all the links are in the show notes. Thanks very much for listening. Bye.